Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. I have put the record to the cloud on this for all of us, and I just want to thank everybody for being here. I do notice I have a little halo going on, and we'll just play with it at the end of the day, Monday, and roll with the backlighting. So if you guys can roll with that, then we will go ahead and get started. My co-host tonight is Carol Roeder, and we'll introduce ourselves here in just a second. But thanks everybody for being here, and for those just joining us while we have been hanging out, we're just sharing in chat where we're calling in from tonight, where you relay, and maybe something you're looking forward to about relay this year. Just anything fun to introduce yourself and get that out there. And then also we are recording this. We will be sharing it. But if you know somebody is out there that should join us tonight live and be part of the conversation, make sure they have the information to log in, whether you share it from Facebook or just send it to them directly. We'll be here over the next hour, and they can keep joining us as we get started. But as I said, my name is Keisha McKinney, and we live in South Arkansas, but we relay in Oklahoma. We live in that part of Arkansas that's just right there across the border, and that's where my husband works, and we relay with his work team. But I get to serve as the volunteer communications lead for the South region, and in that role, I'm part of the national chairs and leads in that role, and so I oversee and help plan and coordinate the online and social media chair training for our volunteers. And we're always looking for new ideas and folks to join that team. So if that's something as we go through tonight that you'd like to be part of, then shoot me a direct message or something like that, and we'll get you connected. And I'll let Carol introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I've already put into the chat box that I'm looking forward to a lot of interaction tonight. And while Keisha might have a halo behind her, I forgot to bring a lamp. So I've got all the windows open in my office, and the sun is setting. So I'm going to get darker and darker and darker. Sorry. And if I don't move around like this, my light automatically goes off too. So I might flail my arms a little. But I am here in Phoenix, and in our market, we have about 10 relays. And so I can choose to go anywhere. And I'm pretty excited about that. My personal relay was sunsetted, and it was merged with some others. So I try to support as many as I can.
And so, Carol is a great volunteer supporter too. That's what's fun about this partnership is I love when we get to work together, as she is a marketing lead for South Region and I'm a volunteer in communications. And so any chance we get to partner and share with you guys is a fun chance for us. So
we have a good time.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go ahead and jump in because we have a lot to cover. And I see that my friend Kelly's online. And so Kelly, while it's not a redhead, that lady is for you. And I know that when we get to talking about analytics and different things, people get kind of nervous. And we know that it's going to be technical. And so part of our goal tonight is to just debunk and demyth a lot of things that are probably that scary part of any of your social media accounts that you've been afraid to go check out. And that is really our big goal tonight, is to just get in there and help solve some of those questions so that the work that you're doing will make a greater impact for you guys. So first of all, take a deep breath and do that several times as the night goes on if you need to when we'll get too deep. Another thing though is use the chat box for discussion. As we're going through some of this, we may not be able to slow down and catch it right in the moment. Some of our friends on here, we've got some great experts on here, and so they may help answer some questions in the moment. If you know an answer, feel free, but write down your questions as we go, and we really, really, really desire to help solve and resolve some things for you tonight. So if you have questions, put them out there. Nothing is too basic to ask, and nothing is too maybe too far. Carol and I know a few things, and if we don't find the answer, know the answer tonight, we'll find it. And that we do promise is we'll get you an answer and get those things resolved for you. So let's take a deep breath, and we're gonna jump in. All right. The first big thing, obviously our main goal tonight is to just understand analytics, and we're going to use the word analytics and insights back and forth depending on the platform that we're talking about. Some of them call it insights, Generally, the field we're discussing tonight is called analytics or metrics. And so when it comes to kind of the communications field, it's anything that's measuring the work you're doing and the interaction that you're getting. And so the reason that those matter is because, especially as a volunteer, your time is important. And so the way you spend time, we've taught several trainings over the last year just about ways to be organized and ways to better use your time. And so insights and analytics are one of those. What you do matters, and how you are trying to do new things and serve your community matters. And this is a way to see if any of those things are making a difference from a data side. Some things you can just tell from conversations or interactions that you're hearing from people. And please, as we talk tonight, don't overlook any of that. We're going to talk a lot about data and what the numbers are saying, but you also just have conversations at Arby's and McDonald's and at work, and you hear from people that they saw something or they interacted with something, and you need to listen to some of that too and let those things help drive your decisions. But a lot of today is going to be about the technical side. Your followers will tell you what they like, and that's what's showing up in your analytics. So that's why this information matters. The things that they interact with become more popular. The more popular it becomes, the more people see it, and the more popular it gets to keep being. And so that's kind of how these platforms work, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, they all kind of work in that same winding thing. It is a popularity contest, and so that's part of why we want you to know what is popular with your followers, because they're going to keep interacting with the things that they like. The insanity principle is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And so that's why we want you to see how, when you mix things up, people are going to respond and interact with you different. And just generically, you can read this comment at the bottom, but it is known, and it almost seems common sense, but it's fun to just read it, that the more people who interact with your posts, like, share, or comment, the higher the engagements are going to be. So it's going to show up in more people, and that higher engagement often relates to higher participation and revenue. And so again, your community is working really hard to draw people to your event and engage them, and to raise money for the American Cancer Society. And we don't apologize for that we use Relay for Life to raise money for the American Cancer Society. So what does that look like, and where can you maybe find this on each platform? I'm going to go through these slides quickly because really the bulk of tonight, Carol's going to take us over to behind the scenes. We're going to pull back the curtain and use Facebook specifically to look at some of this information. And we use Facebook because it's kind of the core of where most of our relayers are, but the principles, concepts, terms that we use tonight really apply to any one of these platforms. We're just going to use Facebook as the example platform and dig into it, but I want to show you in these next couple screenshots where, if you are using Instagram or Twitter for your event, you can find the same information on those other platforms, okay? So not going to spend a ton of time here because we're going to go live, but this is a screenshot of a Relay for Life Facebook page. And remember, just because I don't want to oversimplify anything or not cover something, you as a person create a Facebook account, and people can be managers of pages or groups, okay? And so when we look at this, pages have the insights and analytics, groups do not. Groups are community for engagement and interaction, but they do not have the engagement, do not have the insights that we're going to look at tonight. But for most pages, you're going to click on that little drop-down arrow by more, and insights will be one of the options there. Sometimes it's in the bar at the top. It just depends on usually either your screen or how often you interact with that, and then it'll show up more and more for you. Okay. There's multiple screenshots here, so I want to slow down for just a second. This is Instagram, okay? So if you were, because Instagram is meant to be a mobile-led platform, so this would be if you're in the feed, up in the top right corner, there's those 3 lines, and that's referred to as a hamburger menu, okay? So when you click on that, the screen that you're seeing there on your far left is what shows up. You click on Insights, And then the next screen is what's going to show you the 3 areas where you could dig in and learn some more things, okay? The third screenshot there is if you are in your feed, under each picture, post, whatever that you have there, video or carousel of images, is a little view insights. And this is because you've also, you do need to update your account to a business account when you're in Instagram to be able to get these. Just everybody who signs up doesn't automatically get these. You do need to promote it to a business account. And the way you do that is you have to have a Facebook page to link it to. Okay, Instagram's owned by Facebook. So those will have to link for this to show the information. But once you've done that, then under each one of your posts, you will have that little view insights option. And what you get when you click on view insights is what you see in the screenshot number 4 there, where all of the options come back to you, okay? Twitter is same thing. You have to be a business account to get this information. And to get to Twitter analytics, it's not just in the regular app or in the regular platform. You go to analytics.twitter.com. This is going to pull up an account for you there. And Kendra just commented, but yeah, she was gracious enough to give us a behind the scenes of some stuff that they've been doing in Silicon Valley, and to just let us do some screenshots. They are doing some different things with this account, but it gave us access to be able to use a branded account instead of my personal account or something. So lets you just see what, where you would click on audiences or at the top, and then you can click through all of that information and find out the things we're going to talk about. And then on quick one, a lot of people aren't really using Pinterest for this, but just so you know, it does have analytics included. This is a landing page. If you have made your Pinterest account a business account, you automatically have the things that are on the left side of that search bar, analytics and ads, because that's what you have access to. You click on audience insights, and then there's a ton more information. So just wanting you to see in each one of these platforms where it would be, because again, we're going to talk big picture, we're going to talk concepts and terms, and use Facebook as our platform of conversation. Okay. Real quick, we're going to break the code, and then like I said, Carol's going to take us through where do you find each one of these things and what does it mean when it changes, but just so you kind of understand conceptually. This is an important one, and again, we are going to share these slides. We'll share the video that we're recording tonight. All of that will come out, so you don't have to just screenshot everything and save it. We will pass that along. Sharon has asked a great question, and that is, are you able to change a regular account to a business account? And the answer is yes. That's how this all gets started. We all start as a regular account, and then you just go through the steps. And the great thing is each one of these platforms have pretty simple help processes that can answer that. Or if you want to connect with me offline, that's a really great thing we can do in the nationwide online community page, is walk through and connect resources of how to get you guys switched from regular accounts to business accounts so you can see the analytics. But with Facebook, it automatically comes with a page, okay? So seeing these things on the screen, reach and impressions are 2 words that are sometimes used interchangeably, just really getting you how many eyeballs saw the stuff that was out there, okay? Engagement is who interacted with it. Likes is who liked it, whether that is using a heart or the thumbs up features that different platforms have. Shares is who actually clicked that little forward button and put it out on their platform. And that's really helpful for you. As we go through this, you're going to see that always increases engagement, reach, and impressions. But it's the thing you want to consistently ask your ELT, your team captains, your core participants to be doing with especially the significant posts you're doing, whether they're about your event or a big promotion you're doing. That is how more people in your community are going to see things and engage with it as you try to expand that. And then the last one that we're going to mention here is just clicks, and that's straightforward. The number of times something was clicked on, a link, or whatever you put out there, especially if you're doing a promotion or getting that through. So I'm going to switch it to Carol, and we have something fun, and then we're going live. You ready? So we have a question for you guys. When it comes to analytics, what should your primary focus be? I'm going to give you just a few seconds. Got some responses coming in. That's good. Just a few more seconds. What do you guys think? What should we focus on most? I got 4 more seconds too. I'm ending it now. All right, Carol, you want to run with that?
Well, I sure do. Thanks. We're going to talk about all of these things, and every one of them is important, but we're going to take a look at, when I walk through the analytics section, we'll talk about why they're important. But yes, all of these are important, and we'll take a look at why in a second. So I need to take over the screen. And there you go. Are we good?
Yes, it is live.
Excellent. So this is one of the Relay for Life events in the Arizona area who have done a really great job at with their social media. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to pick on them and honor them all at the same time. So let's take a look at what it means to go through the analytics or the insights on Facebook. First of all, based on one of the earlier slides you saw, and I hope you can see my cursor, here's your insights right here. Sometimes it's hidden behind one of these other, like maybe a more, but on this one here, it's right there. And so we click on it, and I'm going to take you for a ride.
We can see your cursor, so that's helpful, just so you know. It is.
You can?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll try to move it really slowly because otherwise y'all are going to need Dramamine. So this is the overview, and while it tells you some really great things, it defaults to the last 7 days. It's not something that I take a long time looking at. But what I do drill into, and this speaks to the poll that we took, the first place I go is likes, because every time somebody likes you, you automatically get followed. And for the purposes of today, I am going back, changing my default time to January 1st through today. And the reason why I wanted to show you this is because you can tell at the first of the year where they were with likes and how they grew them. I'm just so excited. I get very excited when people grow their likes. What's also exciting, and this is where their event was, and we'll take a look at that. And then you see that they're holding them. How many times do people tend to engage their community for their event, and then after the event is over, they stop posting, they stop telling stories, they stop engaging? It's a good way to lose your followers and your likes. So I think what's awesome is they're doing a great job of keeping them engaged. Then I jump to followers, because people can like you but not follow you. And really, followers are who we really want to engage. They're the people who are actually talking to us. They're the people that we want to focus on. And again, you see, because this mirrors the likes, but you can see how they've grown consistently through the first half of the year, and now they're maintaining them. Now, what will be interesting is next year, when we look at this, how do they grow it again from their 1,300 up to the next number? The other thing I wanted to show on followers is here are the followers and where they spiked. Where did you get new followers? Like there's 4 of them there, and 4 there, and 3 there. And then there's some unlikes and some unfollows. They're not too significant. I wouldn't lose sleep over those. The other thing is, here's where our page followers happened. So like, what happened in all of these months? This one here was their event, so we know that that was pretty active, right in that ballpark. But then you see it drop off. So they're still staying engaged, but they haven't, but they're not doing as much or at the same level as they were leading up to their event. Not a problem, really, as long as they're staying connected. The next thing I look for on here is the reach. The reach, I look at it, I don't focus on it because this is based on your posts. And your followers, you know, they're all going to say the same thing. You're going to see the same spikes, these same spikes the first half of the year, and then you're going to see them trickle down a little bit. But the followers are probably a little bit more important. But man, like I get excited when I see 1,400. That's pretty neat. So my thought would be, what did we post that got 1,400 likes? And I'll show you that. The next thing I look at is, I'm going to jump down here and look at people. Here are the people who are following your page. Now, this is Yuma, is based in Arizona. It's southern Arizona. It's not far from the California border, but you can see that they have I think they have 1,300 followers. 1,000, let's just round it up and say 1,000 are from the Yuma area. Some are from Phoenix, some are from surrounding cities. But when I scroll down here, there's some people from California, San Diego, friends, family, people who have an interest. Just know that you have far reaching, but take a look at what your numbers look like. To know what communities, if there's a strong representation from a community nearby, you want to make sure that you engage them too. And then this is an important number 2. And this is, of all your followers, only 17% of them are men. What does that mean? Your posts are probably going to cater to the women. Not to shun them and not to leave them out, but to make sure that you know that you're catering to this 82%. And then also the greatest number of your followers are between the ages of 35 and 44. Not bad here and here. Now people would say, oh, Instagram's the one that's taking over. Well, you might see those same numbers there, but look at where they are here. This is a really strong following. So use it. You might even use it as a metric for all of your social media channels. It's a good idea. But I'm going to go now to posts, because to me this is where the meat is. And I pull analytics in my market all the time on what's going on with all the state pages in the South region. So this tells us here, of my followers, what are the days that they're on here most often. And as I scroll across here, you see that chart below change shapes a little bit, so you can tell on which day where they are. But when you look at it overall, you can see that for me, if I was posting for this page, I would probably post here before everybody gets to work, because it looks like they all check their Facebook page right around here, and then maybe have it on in the background during the day. And then I would post again right around here, because it looks like around 8 o'clock at night is when most of the people in this community are on this page. Does that make sense? It's and everybody's is different, but from everything I've seen, this looks pretty similar from one event to the other. And now, one of the other things that we were talking about when we ran that poll was the post type. So when I look at this, I think, oh, if I do a video, it's going to have a far larger reach, or reach a lot more people than if I do just a link. This one here is the status. When you open up your page, it says, you know, what are you thinking? What's on your mind? What do you want to say? That's what the status is. And then you said, if it's just by itself, this is where it's going to land. If you add a link, yeah, this one here, I don't know why this is, but this is a reflection of what their posts look like. So I would want to look at that and think, what links did I put in here that just didn't fare well? Because if they didn't fare well, I surely don't want to repeat them. But then you see that when you add a photo, your reach gets higher, as does your engagement. And then you add a video, or if you share a video. This is, we're going to talk about planning in a little while. This is really awesome data. And it's really, really helpful. So visit this from time to time and just get to know where you're working and what it's doing for you, and let it be your guide. So the other thing we asked about was engagement rate. So when I look at reactions and comments and shares, they're all itemized here. But what I do is I quickly click on that and turn it into the engagement rate. And here's the goal that we use sort of as a baseline in the South region, and that is we want to hit a minimum of 10% reach. So if they have 1,300 followers, we want to reach at least 130 people here. And then I want to hit at least a 10% engagement here. Not always easy, but when you look at this is exciting. I get very excited when I see 14%, 2%, but what this tells me is, 83, reach of 83, 2%, 7% engagement. That one didn't resonate. Whatever was in that post, maybe it was the message, maybe it was the photo, maybe I didn't tag somebody, but I would take a look at that and I would make it a point to not repeat whatever I did there and figure out how to make it do something more like this. What did I do here that reached 500 people and generated a 14% reach, or 14% engagement? So then I'm going to fly down here. Sorry, you have to hang on with me while I'm taking you to the one that just made me silly excited right here. No, that's not it. To go back a little further. But look at all those nice numbers. There it is. 7,000 people. This post reached 7,000 people and had a 14% engagement. That's huge. That's exciting. And so when I open this up, you're going to see that it is the same post that we had earlier on, and that we're going to visit again later on tonight. It's taking a little while. 7,000 people, 291 reactions translates into 14% engagement. And what's interesting, they didn't even tag anybody here. But what this tells me, what I learned from something like this, is that this message, these photos meant a lot. It really resonated with the people in the community for the Relay for Life of Yuma. So those are the kinds of things, when you take a look at data, data is data unless you let it help you. And then you can make some decisions based on it. In case there are questions, and I had this question early on, we have dark blue boost and we have light blue boost. Boosting a post you can put a couple $30 behind it and you can boost your post and reach exponentially more people. And I'm to see if I can't find one in here that shows where it's paid and where it's not. I don't see it quickly. But what happens if you share a post, for instance, if you go to the American Cancer Society Relay page, the Master Relay page, and you share a post to your page, it will come through as a light blue. You cannot boost somebody else's post. If you originate a post, it's yours to boost. My computer's talking to me. It says I'm moving too quickly. That happens. But anyway, these are the big things about your post that you really, I live in this all day long to figure out, what am I doing right? What am I not doing well? And then I try to change my strategies.
Hey, Carol, well, you're right there. Those two posts that are on like May 18th and they have the 32% and 28%, would you just show us maybe what they were? Because the folks in chat have just made a realization, and I love it. I've actually got chills on my arms, and they are saying what they've noticed just even in your scrolling is that the people here are super loving when local stuff is posted. And so they're seeing a consistency. And so I'm curious what these two are, just to help verify.
Well, this was a good one. This is Kate. And now this was shared from somewhere else, so they couldn't boost this one, but that's not a problem. Team Kate, this is a member of the event. So this is about her. This is about the community. This is storytelling. And that's one of the things that the American Cancer Society is talking about now, and that is on social media, tell stories. because they resonate with people, more so than just generic content. So if it's people telling their own stories or you helping tell their stories, they get so much more engagement. I want to say this one was similar. And I will also tell you, the higher your reach, the harder it is to get a high engagement, just because of the numbers. It's just the numbers. What is this one about? Oh, it's Team Kate again. It was an update on Team Kate. So again, storytelling. Let's see if I can't find another one. Well, here's another one. They featured, this one is very recent, so it hasn't had a lot of time to grow. But again, it's about somebody from the community who is fighting cancer, and they're telling a story. We're working my bandwidth here. There we go. This is a happy birthday, Benny. But he has spent you've spent the last 2 birthdays you spent in the hospital. And now you get to spend it with us at home. An amazing message. This is why people relay. And so we're feeding them that kind of information and inspiring them to do more, and honoring what they do. So let's see, where else? Is there something else that I want to talk about here? I think I hit those points that were in the poll. The time to post, I showed you that a lot of the people are online right around here, and they're gearing up at this time of day. The engagement rate is really an important data. Grow your followers, and I'll talk about that a little later, so I won't jump ahead of myself. Anything I'm missing?
Anything with stories on that tab that's worth seeing, or?
No, not so much, except for that really does speak. Oh, no, I didn't go in there because they didn't have stories.
Oh, okay, they didn't do them yet. Okay.
Yeah,
but that's where it is. If people
Yeah.
are doing stories, that's where they can see their information.
And yeah, in fact, and it's not something I use either, so I can't really speak to it, but they don't have anything here. But anything else that you want to see on this page? That any other questions? I can't see the chat.
Yeah, somebody's asked a good question, and I don't exactly know for sure, but it's the time is set to Pacific for all pages. So I've called out on to my friend Kendra to back me up on that one. I don't know if you know that for sure, not either. If when you're looking at that and you're seeing times, are those your time that you set to your page? Yeah, it's local to where you set where you're looking. Kendra has confirmed. So
yeah, and they're in my market, so they're on Pacific time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Jessica, I see your question, but I'm not exactly sure what you're asking about. What about event insights? So if there's, are you asking if there's insights related to specific events within, I think that may be
this section here, yeah. If that's what we're talking about, they don't show up under insights. In fact, let me go in here. Sometimes when you go into one, and it might be when it has to be active, and maybe Kendra knows more about that one there. I've not seen insights.
Yeah, because the insights, as far as I know, are tied to the pages. Now, if you're sharing that event on your feed of your page, you're going to see insights on that post.
Correct.
Because it's shared to the feed of your page. This is the part where it gets technical, because again, a page can create events that are sub pages. And Jessica, I think that's smart. I think it's super smart to create events, and then you've got that opportunity to share, and it helps that grow. The way you're going to see that is if it's inside as posts on your
right.
It's showing it related to your page when you're in the back and the insights.
Right. If you were to post something and link to your event page here, it'll show up in your timeline and it'll show up in your insights. Any other questions? If not, I am going to turn it back over to you, Keisha.
Okay, and I've had someone mention that I'm scratchy again, and
Yep.
I don't know. We have reset my computer twice, and it started out and it's gone back. So if it's super annoying, then Carol may just have to be the lady.
It comes and goes, so it'll go.
That's so weird. I'm sorry about that, you guys. So, are you guys seeing my screen again?
Yep.
Okay. So one of the questions that usually comes up after we see the insights and we go, how do more people get their eyes on this, is the question related to boosting a post versus organic traffic. And so part of tonight is obviously we want you to understand where that information is so you can help make yourself informed decisions. And I love that some of that naturally happened tonight. We didn't even set that up, that you are beginning, as you look at the data, to start inferring some things from that data. And so seeing what people interact with and what they like is definitely one of those things to infer and make decisions related to. And I would say the same thing transfers to how do I make decisions related to should I boost, when to boost, and all of those kinds of things. So we're going to look at that just a little bit and to help maybe answer some of those questions for you. And there is, just to go back, there's some really great chat going on related to the events. I think if you are an event who runs a page that creates a lot of sub-events to help promote fundraisers or those kinds of things, you're going to see events on the backside of insights in a different way than most pages will. So you might play with it and look at that and look at what's going on in the chat. But again, this is if your event is set up as a page, not as a group. And that's a big decision I know that you guys have to make. All right. So what is organic traffic? Organic traffic is just literally what you get by making a post. Who shows up, who responds, who reacts, who interacts with it, who does the random algorithm that's playing and running and making things show up in a feed of any platform. That's what organic traffic is. So the question is it really a popularity contest? And I would say yes. Every platform is telling us that. And by popularity, I don't mean that they're shoving things in front of you. I think Facebook has come out in the last year in a very consistent way and being transparent after they were under some scrutiny to just say, you know what, we're going to do what you want and we're going to give you the things that you want. And so the way the algorithm, and we've talked about this on some different trainings, so I would go back if you've missed some of those, is the more you like and interact with something, the more it's going to show up for you. So sometimes you have people say, I never see your posts. Well, I would encourage them to say, hey, for about a month, will you just consistently go to our page, interact with the things that you see there, comment, like, whatever, and that stuff's going to show up in front of you a little bit more. And the same is true then for it's kind of concentric circles where the things that you interact with are going to show up with you. The things the people you interact with is tier 2 going to show up in front of you. And so you've got to interact with posts and people that you want to keep seeing stuff up. And so as times of year happen and more things get in the way of that, then sometimes if you want to get around some of that, you've got to boost posts and do that. So Carol and I would both probably tell you, what is our recommendation? Boost. And I'm going to give you some ideas for what that could look like, but make a plan and boost some things. But I would do that related to let some organic traffic happen, get some traction with a post, and then boost. Whether you have a plan to boost up front or whether you see something is getting traction and then you want to boost it to get more traction. Okay. What are the types of things that I would say boost? I would have plans around things related to recruitment, I would have plans around big emphases that your community is doing. If you have a big local fundraiser, or you're having a big kickoff event, or you're having a special thing for teams, or you're doing something to honor people, and so you need survivors to sign up, or you need to get more people involved. I think another thing you can do it around is if you do a Paint the Town Purple, or the things leading up to your event, because you're always in a balance when you are doing content for social media. You're always balancing your content. We talked about this a couple weeks ago in our editorial calendar training, and that is, you want to get recruitment, you want to get mission, you want to help support teams, you want to share the messages of the American Cancer Society, and you want to fundraise. Again, we don't apologize that we use Relay for Life to fundraise for the American Cancer Society. And so those are the things that you're mixing up and the messages you're trying to get in front of people. And sometimes you're just trying to get an announcement out about a meeting, or you're helping share and fan the flame to something another group has shared. Or you really are in a strategic effort to try to help grow your event or grow the fundraising of your event. And that's when you would want to scoop in and do something related to boosting. And kind of some specific plans tied to that are coming up. I'm making sure I'm not overlooking something that are coming up in some action steps in just a little bit. So I am going to leave you hanging with the how and move forward into getting into some of our action steps and how we make some of this stuff happen.
Okay, I will kick off with this first one. And that is followers. We touched on it a little bit a few minutes ago. And I will, two things. One, it's okay to post and say, please encourage your friends and family to like and follow our page. There's nothing wrong with making the ask. You don't want to ask. You don't want to over ask, but it's okay to do. The other thing that is important too is if people post a comment, take the time to reply and respond, and use their name when you respond to them, because that makes them feel special. It makes it personal. But here's a tip on the screen that some people didn't think of or haven't thought of. It for some people it's an aha moment. But when you go into a post, any post really, and I usually pick the ones that have the biggest numbers because I figure that's got the greatest return on investment. But I go into a post and I see that 51 people liked it in some way or shape. And when I launch that number, when I click on that number, this box shows up and it tells me who all the people are that liked it. And you know, like this one was a like, this one was a heart and a heart. And over here, this person already follows me. But these 5 don't. They follow my stuff, but they don't follow my page. So if you just click on that and invite them, it sends them an invitation automatically. It's amazing if you do that every now and then, how many new followers you're going to add to your page. It's easy. It's like someone knocking on your door and you opening it to them. So take advantage of that opportunity to go in there and do that. The next big step is to plan. Can you go to the next one? Thank you. Or to review the content so you can plan. This again is a screenshot that we were looking at a little earlier. You can see that 7,001, and again that column there that has the 7.3K, the 7,000 is the reach, and we're always looking to hit 10% of whatever your followers are. And then the engagement rate is, our goal is always to hit at least 10%. You know, you don't marry yourself to that. Just know that that might help you figure out if something's doing really well or maybe not so much. You can see halfway down that page, there's one on 428, and I wrote wow on that. That was 3.5 with a 20% engagement. That's pretty darn amazing. And if we can't open it from here because this isn't a live page, but Tim and Clay walk the entire event. what a great story. Again, it's a story and people respond to stories. So just remember to review your content, take a look at them, see what didn't do well, and figure out either, if you don't know what you didn't do well with it, at least just put it aside and say, let's not repeat that, whatever it was. If you've done something well, like in this case, it's the stories that are bubbling up, keep doing what you're doing because people are loving it and they're engaging. And to me, and I said this earlier, to me, it supports their reason for relaying. It makes them feel good about what they're doing because you're telling stories about people who are benefiting or being impacted in the community by their hard work as fundraisers. Let me just think here if I'm missing any messages. Nope, it's all about stories. So then the third step here is to get organized. And this picture is direct from Keisha's desk because this is how she plans. But I think what's really important is that, particularly for me, I have to carve out the time. I have to set aside time. I have to dedicate time to it. And you can do a number of ways. Now, I don't recommend you drawing a bath and pouring a glass of wine and just settling in to work on your calendar. Maybe, maybe not. But there is a good opportunity for you. Go to a local coffee shop. I have to be careful I don't advertise here. Or go to the park and just, clear your head, clear yourself from a lot of distractions. You've already taken a look at your analytics for the last month, and it says storytelling rules. And you know that you've got some things on the calendar or some people on the calendar that you want to recognize. Don't forget to look up their tags and integrate them into your posts. I also find it easy when I have a calendar that says, the 31st is Halloween. There's an easy post, and you can make it as ghoulish as you want or as trick-or-treaty as you want. I mean, who doesn't want to trick-or-treat for Relay? Seriously. Let's see. So in any case, the net is set aside some time, take a look at what went well and what didn't go well, and plan, use that information. This is where the data becomes your friend. It's not just numbers, it's a guide. It's something to help you moving forward. Oh, and ask for help. You don't have to populate everything yourself. Your ELT has stories. Your survivors are amazing resources for stories. And if they're a little shy about telling you, I'll bet they can tell you somebody else's. Always an opportunity. When you're at meetings, find out, you find yourself just tuning into the conversation and going, oh, I bet that would make an interesting story. I need to follow up with that person and find out what's going on. So, and then ask people. User-generated content isn't something we really touched on here, but user-generated content is content that's generated by an individual who typically posts it to their own page. You reach out to them and say, I love this story. I think your photo is great. Can I share it on my page? And that way you've got some awesome content that you didn't have to work. Somebody else put it together. That said, if you've got some other people who want to help you with your online work, have them mind for stories too, because everybody, conversations just open up windows to stories. And so just constantly talking to people and just challenge other people to find you a story. What's step 4, Keisha?
Yeah, I love it. You set that up perfectly with user-generated content. And before I even go into this, we went Saturday, my family, to a pumpkin patch. And the lady told us when we left, hey, be watching our Facebook page. We're going to do an all call for a photo contest. Well, what I know is they're going to get to use all those pictures next year as part of their promotions for that content. So when you're at events, ask people to tag you in their post or do that after Relay say, hey, share with us your favorite moment at relay in the comments or something like that. And that helps you get some really great pictures that you can use. But we have several slides here that are going to just show some places that you can get some content. And I want to quickly go from this slide, I may come right back to the next slide and show you, I did exactly what Carol just mentioned. So last week, I was watching the Relay Community Facebook page or group, and this picture on the left showed up, and it took my breath away. It came on a day that I was just like overwhelmed, doing a ton of stuff. I had too many relay specific things on my to-do list, and I was just like, check, 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 and I was just overwhelmed. And this lady, this picture made me pause and made me take a deep breath and go, this is a why. I have lots of whys. I'm a survivor. I have a little boy that's a miracle that I never knew I'd get to have. I have lots of people I fight for. But this lady became a new one that is on my radar. And so I reached out to the gal in the group. It's a nationwide group. I don't know her. And I just said, this picture is powerful. Could I have it to use this year? And I said whether it was this or other things. And she gave me permission to use it. And then I said, but I have to know the story. And once I knew the story, this became so much more powerful. This is her aunt. I said, who is this woman to you? Was my question. This woman is her aunt, and this was she's 1 year breast cancer survivor. And she was looking for her husband's bag that they had lost a few years ago to brain cancer. So they have been relaying together in his honor, and she has come from her first year as a breast cancer survivor. And for me, relay made so much sense to me when I came and got my first purple shirt of honor and took my first lap and just understood relay different. I had relayed for 4 or 5 years, but I was always the Luminaria and overnight girl. So I didn't know this moment. I'd never experienced that at relay. And so this just connected to me in a special way. I don't know this woman, but I just said, can I have access to use this image? It's just powerful. And so it is now a new image for me visually, and I will, and I'll use this, but I just wanted you guys to see it, that it was just literally me scrolling through Facebook at a random time in the afternoon. And I said, if I'm moved by this, others will be too. And I've got to have access if she let me, and she gave me permission. So know that that's a place that stuff can come. The other image on this slide, my friend Chris, that's on this call with us, but also helped lead a training a few weeks ago. She and her daughter went to New York on a trip, and while they were there, they planned ahead and got a tour and got to visit the Hope Lodge in Manhattan. And I loved her pictures. This was just one of several pictures, but what I loved is that she's just a random friend I've met in relay world. We've never met face to face. I've actually met her in chat, and we've built a relay friendship from that. And so I saw this from her trip, and I said the same thing. Can I have access to this picture to use for powerful moments? And so I just challenge you guys tonight to just say, you have relay friends all over. Several people tonight have mentioned where they're relaying from. Go follow their pages, get ideas from what they're doing. And there is a balance. We were talking about this in chat a little bit ago, of taking an image and creating it as a new post versus sharing something that's already out there. And so, this being shared from Chris's personal page to my Relay for Life event, probably not the thing that needs to happen. Once Chris gave me permission to use the photo and have access to the photo, then I could just create a new page, a new post on my page. But sometimes the American Cancer Society will post an image like the one on the left and talk about Luminaria or talk about recruitment or something like that. And sharing from their page to my page does help with that popularity, because everyone who follows them, the American Cancer Society account or Relay for Life account or whatever account it is, and follows me, it's more likely to show up because my algorithm says that those two things find this post important. So that's just kind of where the balance becomes, that there's lots of places to find content. And back on this slide that I had up, these are all resources from the American Cancer Society that you can find content and create new things, whether it's facts or articles about what's going on. Especially Carol talked about that Yuma event has this kind of time of year where they got all these followers in May, but now they need to keep their engagement. Well, we need to keep telling those people's stories. And so just last week, 2 former ACS funded grant recipients just got Nobel Prizes. We should have all had that article all over our pages because, one, the popularity of the story just blew up. My feed was, because I follow a lot of relay people, but I was seeing it over and over and over. And so that helps create curiosity in our followers' minds. So that's kind of how some of that works, is you share it or you get the link to the article and create it yourself. And you can keep those people engaged when you don't have as much event-related things going on to talk about. These images. And then another place that you can find content is listening in meetings. And I would challenge you, I think Carol mentioned something, but I would challenge you in all of your meetings, especially your ELT meetings, but with team captains as well, to ask to be a consistent person on the agenda. Whether that is to ask for content, or if you hear a team captain is having a fundraiser, say, hey, make sure you send me the flyer information, or let me know when you're going to post that so I can share it, or tag us when you post it so I know that it's ready to be shared. Maybe part of your welcome packet to team captains. I don't know what your local community does, but maybe you have a one-pager that can go in there, just like the sponsorship chair gets to have, or just like a new team, the recruitment chair gets to have. Maybe you have a one-pager about how to follow us and connect with us and engage with our messaging, because as we've said in some of these other ones, you are essentially the marketing director of a local small business. You're a local nonprofit that exists and lives in your town, and you represent the American Cancer Society. And so your role as a social media director or the online marketing director for them puts you in a limelight to be able to say, I'm going to connect our community to what's happening here. And that's why those local stories mean so much to them. So mix it up, keep it interesting. You're seeing what they like, engage in conversation, talk back to them, and then make sure you stay on brand. You know, tell the story of the American Cancer Society, use those visual colors of the American Cancer Society, and be part of the greater health and nonprofit and cancer community conversation that's happening locally for you as well. Sorry, I get super excited. That picture's just like moved me and re-energized me in a new way for this relay season, and it's fun. But this is another thing that's come up, this social sponsor. And so a few minutes ago, we talked about, when we were talking about that organic versus boosting and paid promotion, I would challenge you, because again, social and online should be a strategy as you guys are planning for your full Relay for Life season. I think as you guys look at the budget, no one is questioning whether you need a DJ. No one is questioning whether you need great lighting. No one is questioning if you need to pay for, all kinds of random things that come up as part of just putting on a great event or making things happen throughout the year. A storage unit, all of those things. I would challenge you that something that should be part of your annual budget to put on your event and to be a Relay for Life is some social media marketing boosting dollars. So pick something like $500 or $1,000, whatever that looks like. And I would challenge you to put a social sponsor on your sponsorship tiers and lists and go recruit it. Whether your sponsorship chair goes and recruits it, I would say go recruit it yourself. Maybe you have someone in mind that you know locally would love to have their name tied to that, or who would just get it over some other things that they would connect you. And this is one of those sponsorships where you're going to need the actual physical dollars. It's not just come be the wireless Wi-Fi sponsor of the night, and like you need physical dollars, but use that then as your budget that you can promote and boost things throughout the year. I do have that last bullet point on there, make the donation yourself. I'm not suggesting you have to foot the bill, but I do know some people say, well, we always give a certain amount as part of our sponsorship, or this is how we participate. And maybe you want to do that and write that off as a donation to the American Cancer Society. That's your personal decision. But I would challenge you to get the opportunity for a social media sponsor on your sponsorship tiers, and make sure it fits. I mean, you've got to make sure it fits with the other things. You can't give away something because your level is different. But I would definitely have that conversation with your event lead and your sponsorship lead, and let this be part of your plan, because you're seeing that those that do get promoted and have a specific strategy related to when and why you would promote some content over another, and let that be part of what you're doing to market in your community. And then step 6, I kind of mentioned this, so maybe I got myself out of order, but I would ask people as just periodically, and make it part of a practice at different events, whoever's working your registration tables, when you meet a new team captain, ask the question, how'd you hear about us? Find out what is recruiting people in your community, what is sharing the message when someone shows up at a fundraiser. All of those things kind of connect the dots back together for you. And then ask for time in those meetings. I mentioned being on the agenda. Ask for time to give feedback and to say, hey, I really need you guys, everybody, to open your phones right now, ELT meeting, and I want you to go to our page, and I want you to invite anybody that's local that you know needs to be following us that's not currently invited or following us. That's just a great, I love that first tip. The first slide, that was like a new mind-opening thing to me. But I think similarly, just pulling your phone out and having people invite followers right then is a really just a really great practical tip to just get more people connected to you. Because remember, people have to follow you to get that information put out in front of them. So we're going to switch to questions, and we did have one come up that how often do you change your event page profile picture or cover photo? So I'm going to give an answer, and Carol, you correct me or fix or change. So I personally, from a branding perspective, believe that your profile picture, when you're a business, should be logo brand oriented. It should be obvious, because remember, it's the teeny tiny little thing that's next to your page's name on everything on this platform. And so it, frankly, to me, should be something Relay for Life and American Cancer Society brand related, because that is carrying that message to everyone who's seeing who you are, who you represent, and what you're about. Sometimes people will personalize that and take the logo and actually put like their event name underneath it or whatever. Sometimes we have partnerships with those, oh goodness, I just lost my words, the filters that go over pictures, and so you have a purple ribbon or a frame or something like that, and those are fun. But I personally, from my marketing perspective, would always tell you that the profile picture should be brand related. And then I would change the bigger picture, the cover photo, if you will. That's going to be related to what you're doing, because remember, that is also going to show up in your feed as a new post. So sometimes it's a great way to introduce a monthly emphasis. Our monthly missions, a lot of times those will have cover photos in them, but those are also considered a picture post in your newsfeed that people will interact with, and you can start conversation around and all of those kinds of things. So I think I would use it as a platform for announcements as well as just livening things up. Carol, do you have anything to add or change?
I don't. That's exactly what I say too. It's, that profile picture isn't really where you want to get creative and change it frequently. You want people to recognize you when they're scrolling through their timeline. You want that consistency there. But yeah, the cover photo, I think, is a little bit more of an opportunity to get creative and be timely. I do agree, it needs to be fresh.
I like Chris's idea, changing it up maybe sometimes to what the ACS branded relay pages. If they're doing something new or you hadn't changed in a while, that's always a good place to get something fresh. Brand toolkit, of course, is always a place to get something fresh. And but those mission, the monthly emphases, those kinds of things are a good place to change things out. I mean, I think I would say more than once a month would be too much, but I think you could go once a month and even once a quarter if you're needing to build into something like that. So Jessica, do you want to unmute yourself and share with us your fan of the week idea? It looks like some other folks are interested in what you do. And you may not be where you can unmute, which I get.
So I'm going to jump in here, and Jessica, you can clarify if I might be
She doesn't
wrong.
do anything with it. She's looking for ideas. So
there you go. I will tell you, I have seen, and this is, I just looked at myself in this picture. I look like I'm part of the witness protection program now. So the fan of the week, I've noticed that pages are now tracking who is interacting, who of your followers is interacting with your page the most. And I think, Jessica, they might be bubbling up as the fan of the week. And I want to say I've seen on a couple pages where here are your top 3 fans. But it has to do with who's interacting with you the most that week. If that's the case, and it's worthy of some investigation, that person could very well be an influencer, and you want to tap into that person to help lend a voice to your community. Because if they're investing in you, they can help increase your reach and really expand the bandwidth of your community.
yeah, I know Facebook has added some new badge systems for different groups and pages, and so the top fan badge or whatever usually comes from interaction. And I'm a part of some non-relay things too, and the way they use it is they just give a shout out to that person for being you know, interactive, and people just like, I think part of it is doing it is a way to say, is to tag them and just to thank them for their interaction. So it's, anyway, that's a fun thing. There's some great conversation going on about theme ideas. I will do a plug real quick. If you guys are not part of the Relay for Life community group on Facebook, there's been some great conversation lately going on about themes and ideas for onboarding and those kinds of things. So these questions about themes, and that is a really great place to be part of that conversation and to see nationwide involvement and ideas and how people handle things all over. So it's good. Someone mentioned that they saw them give a prize at the next team captains meeting for a top fan of the week, and I think that's a fun way to do that. But the Relay for Life community group does really give some great ideas. So other questions related to analytics and insights too, those have been good questions you guys are asking that we can help resolve.
I love all the ideas in the conversation. This has been great.
All right, well, I'm gonna, we'll tie this down just to put, oh, I guess I didn't put that slide in here. We have one more training, there it is, on the 28th. And for those who are interested or are curious, we mentioned a lot about going on all these different platforms. We're gonna have some of our volunteers are gonna actually walk you through how to use Brand Toolkit or Relay Connect or some of these other platforms and tell you how to look for what you're looking for, what you can even start to look for. So if, make sure you are seeing that. If you want the follow-up from tonight to be sent directly to you by email and you haven't included that in chat, either send it directly to myself or Carol or in chat, and I will make sure that gets to you. We do post this on Relay Connect, and we are adding them to YouTube now, so everyone has access. And then, of course, we post and create the event in the nationwide online chair support group. So that's on Facebook. But appreciate you guys. Please know that part of our equipping is we understand the high responsibility that you guys have to make sure your local communities are making the greatest difference and attacking cancer from every angle. And so that's why these are so important. We want you to have all the tools that you need. So if you have ideas for future training, let us know. And we're just really grateful for your time tonight. Thanks, you guys.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.